I'm on a new level. Hey! Are you ready to hit new levels in your business? If you want to hit new levels, that requires a growth mindset. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to develop a growth mindset. First and foremost, we're going to give props to the woman who coined this phrase, Carol Dweck, Stanford professor. In her book, Mindset, she is the one who coined the phrase growth mindset. And the idea of a growth mindset is the belief that your skills and intelligence can be improved. I have the distinct honor and privilege of having my team that helps me achieve new levels each and every single day. Director of Operations, Kelly Watson, and lead coach and trainer, Cheryl Parks. Hey, y'all. Hey. As founder of the Big Money Movement, we help women entrepreneurs secure six-figure corporate clients every single day. And when we deal with women entrepreneurs, there's so many fears about, oh my gosh, can I lead a business where I'm securing corporate clients? I have imposter syndrome. I don't have the skill set. And too often we put pressure on ourselves about who we are today, when really I believe it's about blooming where you're planted and realizing that you are an ever-evolving human being, and the IQ that you're born with, the skill sets that you're born with aren't the end-all be-all. You can improve, you can evolve if you have the mindset to consistently grow and develop. So I want to kick it up to my team. Cheryl, when we talk about developing a growth mindset or what a growth mindset is, I know we agreed that language is key.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about like the language of fostering a growth mindset?
Absolutely. So language is so important, and what you say to yourself matters. It really matters. So I'll give you a short story. My background is I grew up as the shyest girl in the room. And what that means is, like, I didn't want to raise my
I know. I'm like, oh, Cheryl.
What that means is, like, I didn't want to ask a question. I didn't want to raise my hand. I just didn't want to be seen. So the way you can change that imposter syndrome, not wanting to be seen, is by creating your own playlist, right? You can do it right on your device. You can just do your affirmations in your phone and listen to it on your way to a meeting, before calls. There are lots of ways that you can actually train your brain to go where you want it to go. And so it's just a matter of, like you said, bloom where you're planted, and understanding that where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. Exactly where you're supposed to be. And that you can expand your skills, your experiences. It doesn't always have to be where you work. It can also be, you know, where you volunteer, the people that you speak with, and just kind of increasing your circles.
I love it. It reminds me of two quotes. One I'm going to butcher. The best education a man can get is the one he gives himself.
Yes.
And it makes me think about, like, you know, you can go to school or college, but it's having a lifestyle of you're continually investing in your own education. And then this other quote that comes to mind is one that I used to say in my first keynotes when I first started speaking. And it's a quote by Abiola Abrams. And she says, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. And the most damning words often come from ourselves. We say things to ourselves that we wouldn't say to our worst enemy." And so I love that you talking about language is important because it's about our relationship with ourselves and first starting with the words that we say to ourselves.
Yeah. And I think we were talking earlier about having, I think it's 40,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah, 80,000.
Is it 80,000? Well, like, if you consider that you have 80,000 thoughts a day, you can create those to be positive thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, and just by training your brain will go where you want it to go. You can tell your brain where you want it to go. So, like, just a little hack. Whenever I can't figure something out technology-wise, you'll appreciate this. I don't call Kelly or anyone on the ops team. I actually will just separate myself and say, I'll figure this out in just a minute. I'll figure this out after lunch. I'll figure this out in the morning.
Oh, I love
and
that.
Typically, you figure it out. Yeah.
A lot of times entrepreneurs struggle with having a growth mindset is because they are afraid of making mistakes. And making mistakes and the hurdles and the pitfalls that we are going to run into on an entrepreneurial journey are how we develop a strong growth mindset. So we have to, instead of like shying away from the hurdles and the pitfalls, we have to take them as opportunities to grow and consistently improve. So I definitely think that's important, as well as just making sure that you understand that failure is not final. Failure is an opportunity to grow, assess, recalibrate, and try again. It's not necessarily final. Liz, do you remember that quote that you always tell us about planting a seed and the Mexican proverb? Can you share?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's a Mexican proverb, and they said, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. And I feel like that's true of each of us. As coaches, you know, we coach all of these women in the program, and so oftentimes I think they put us on the wrong pedestal. And so women will say, oh my gosh, you know, I wish I was smart enough to think of that strategy, or, you know, I would have never thought of that, or, you know, and I'm like, it's not because I just woke up like this.
Right.
I'm like, I've already made those mistakes. I had those same thoughts. I made those same missteps. I've had the hurdles, the obstacles. I've fallen on my face. And I feel like my job as a coach, which is why I think coaches should be practitioners, my job as a coach is to at least be a few steps ahead of you, to clear the path and say, all right, there might be a hurdle here. And sometimes as a coach, I can't save you from it. Right. Oh my gosh, it's gonna get me on a soapbox. One of the things that's hardest as a coach is that because I believe I've bloomed from the dark places, the depth, the soil, those places that seemed like they were meant for my bad, but they turned for my good, I can't save my clients from that.
Right.
Because my level of love and concern is if I save you from everything, you're never gonna have the lessons for yourself. So I don't want you to completely fall on your face, but you might have to stumble a little bit.
Right.
And I might just have, all I can do is hold space and say, it's all right.
Yeah.
I've fallen too.
True.
You can get back up. It's all right. It's normal. We all slip.
But you know what, baby?
You know what I mean? And so, because those are the things, you pay attention when you mess up, right? And I'm a Chicagoan. I love Bulls. Bulls 96, Jordan, Pippen, like all that. And so Jordan has a quote where he talks about, you know, I've missed more shots than most people have ever taken. And I think that's what a growth mindset is about. It's like, today is not my final destination.
Right.
I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna keep trying. And then one day you wake up and you realize you're the expert because you failed more than most people have the courage to try. And I think that's the beauty of a growth mindset.
True. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
There's so many women in the program that come and they share their mistakes and missteps. And one that sticks out to me is our member Brenda, who struggles with pricing. And well, when she first entered the program, she struggled with learning how to price herself. And she's at a whole new place and elevation now. But I think what got her there is to consistently just say the words out loud, like keep trying, and understand that like underpricing yourself didn't feel good. So she was like, okay, I have to change something about this. I have to start putting my value forward and saying the words. So
I agree.
To loop back to the language is important piece, and you know, using words. So the other thing is, if you are an entrepreneur and you're selling, maybe your pricing was at $500, but it needs to be at $5,000. It's going to be super important for you to actually say the word thousand out loud. So that you're not in a scenario where you're saying $5,000, right? You want to say that straight.
Maybe. Is that question mark at the end?
$1,000?
5,000? I think.
Right. You know, if it's 10,000, 100,000, whatever your price point is, you know, where you're elevating to, you have to speak those words. And it's just like if you were learning a foreign language.
Yes.
You actually have to say them out loud.
Yeah. I agree with that. I definitely relate to that. When you talk about language and pricing, I always, speaking of normalizing the journey, like I'm always telling the stories of like when I first started closing 6-figure deals, how like I had major potty breaks beforehand.
Right.
It's not sexy to talk about this, but I'm like, okay,
It's
like
real.
I had like a pit in my stomach, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to process. Right. I need quiet time. And then it's like, all right, go. Because even I was still preparing for the future and the vision, which I also think for women especially, we don't give ourselves credit for our growth. And it's also like when individuals adopt a growth mindset, I think journaling is so important. I know for myself, it's kind of like when people talk about where there are individuals who may have major weight loss. When they look in the mirror, they don't necessarily see themselves differently. And it's like if you're constantly looking at yourself in the mirror every day, you may not see the change. But if you take a picture, and then a year later you take a picture and you compare, you're like, oh, now I can see the change. And I think that's what journaling is. For us, most of the women we work with are overachievers. Like you're just like, literally you check a box. Like you will hustle and work your tail off, check the box, and the next day you're like, oh, next thing, like, all done, that was nothing.
All day, all day, all day, I slay.
You know, and we don't give ourselves credit for our growth, whereas that internal evolution, private victories precede public victories. And I think journaling gives you the documentation of the private victories. Like I'm evolving, I'm growing, I'm not the same person. And then eventually, once you have that private internal evolution and growth, the rest of life, the public victories will catch up with you.
I love that how that relates to what we do in our business and what we practice. We just ended Q1 and we literally had to take a pause as a leadership team to discuss like, okay, what went right? Just looking back and making sure that we're reflecting so that we can grow into Q2, Q3, and so on and so forth. So I love that as well.
I think that parlays perfectly to the next video that you are going to watch, which is how to approach corporate clients for business. We talk about as a coaching team, a lot of the questions we get from individuals about securing corporate clients are permission-based questions. Like, do I have permission to approach corporate clients? So, you know, it's like a fear. It's like, that's not a legitimate question. So if that's your question, click to the next video and we're gonna give you tangible, tactical tools and strategies so that you can approach corporate clients for business. First, we're gonna get imposter syndrome out the way. Now let's give you those strategies. Click that video now. I'll see you there.